intellectual revolution began during the late 19th and early 20th centuries when most African countries were under European colonial control. During this time, colonial governments controlled education and spread the belief that African cultures were inferior to European cultures. African history was often ignored and misrepresented in schools. Many Africans were taught to adopt foreign values and languages, which caused a loss of cultural identity. Because of this, African scholars and leaders started to question these ideas. They wanted to correct false narratives and restore pride in African heritage. This led to the rise of intellectual movements that focused on reclaiming African knowledge and identity.
W.E.B. Du Bois. He promoted Pan-Africanism and encouraged unity among people of African descent around the world. He believes that education and knowledge were important tools for liberation. Kwame Nkrumah. As a leader of Ghana, he emphasized both political freedom and intellectual independence. He believed Africans should control their own education and idea. Sheikh Anta Diop. He used scientific and historical research to prove that Africans have reached an important past. He challenged the idea that civilization only came from Europe. Nogo Watongpu. He encouraged Africans to use their native language in intellectual and education. He believed language is key to preserve culture and identity. Agronomy and botanical science. African scientists, especially in West Africa, were leaders in agriculture. They developed advanced farming techniques, particularly in rice cultivation. Africa contributes important crops to the world such as coffee, oilcpalm, sorghum, African rice, and fono. In addition, African knowledge of plant leads to early form of medicine. Plants were used as anesthesia, pain relievers, and treatment for diseases. Today, plants like hoodoo, gordoni, and comfrum are used in modern drug research, showing how traditional knowledge continues to influence science.
Mathematical and architecture. African civilization demonstrated advanced mathematical and engineering skill. In Nubia, builders accurately calculated pyramid angles and structures. The city of Meroe is known for its pyramids, which were more numerous than those in Egypt. These pyramids had unique design include stepped side and flat tops. African architects also mastered structural techniques such as arches, domes, and underground systems, showing a deep understanding of geometry and structure.
Energy and metal production. African societies were skilled in working with metals such as gold, iron, bronze, and steel. They developed advanced techniques for mining, smelting, and refining metals. They used specialized furnaces with bellows to control heat and airflow, allowing them to produce high-quality metal tools and materials. These metals were used for weapons and armor, farming tools, and jewelry and art.
Medicine and surgery. African medicine was highly advanced and practical. Common treatment included hydrotherapy, water treatment, heat therapy, bone setting, and spinal manipulation. Doctors and also perform complex surgeries and practice quarantine to control disease. A region like Borgo and Fontua became famous to their expertise and orthopedics. African medicine also took a holistic approach, combining physical treatment with mental and emotional care.
Astronomy and cosmology. African civilization also made important discovery in astronomy. Ancient Egyptians developed a solar calendar based on the star Sirius, which influenced the modern 12-month calendar. The Dogon people of Mali had detailed knowledge of the Sirius star system, including Sirius B. Long before modern telescope, their cosmology showed a deep understanding of the universe, connecting science with cultural belief. There were also strong intellectual connection between ancient Egyptian and West African knowledge system.
The African intellectual revolution is still important today for several reasons. First, it supports the effort to improve education by including different perspectives, especially African history and culture. This helps students to understand the world more completely. Second, it encourages people to value their own identity and tradition. Writers like Ngugi Wa Trong O promote the use of native languages, which help preserve culture. Third, it influences modern science and development. Many traditional African practices such as herbal medicine and sustainable farming are now being studied and used worldwide. Lastly, it continues to inspire movements for equality and justice. The ideas of unity and self-determination remain relevant in addressing global issues today. The African intellectual revolution is still important today for several reasons. First, it supports the effort to improve education by including different perspectives, especially African history and culture. This helps students to understand the world more completely. Second, it encourages people to value their own identity and tradition. Writers like Ngugi Wa Trong O promote the use of native languages, which help preserve culture. Third, it influences modern science and development. Many traditional African practices such as herbal medicine and sustainable farming are now being studied and used worldwide. Lastly, it continues to inspire movements for equality and justice. The ideas of unity and self-determination remain relevant in addressing global issues today.